Welcome to another deep dive. This time we're exploring the Vishnu Purana,
Oh, yeah.
an ancient Sanskrit text.
Uh-huh.
It's chock full of mythology and cosmology.
Right.
It's considered one of the 18 Mahapuranas,
Okay.
which are like foundational texts in Hinduism.
Yeah.
So we've got a collection of excerpts from it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really curious to see like what kind of worldview it presents,
Yeah, it's a text that really grapples with the big questions, Like, it doesn't shy away from them at all.
Yeah.
The Vishnu Purana, it offers all these insights into, like, the creation of the universe, the cyclical nature of time, and the principles of Dharma, or righteous conduct. And it's not just, like, a collection of stories. It's, like, a real attempt to understand, like, the very fabric of existence.
That sounds pretty ambitious.
Yeah.
So where do we even begin with something as grand as like the creation of the universe? I mean,
Well, Vishnu Purana uses some pretty amazing imagery to describe it. It all starts with this primordial darkness,
right.
a state of tamas.
Okay.
Vishnu Purana 1.mp3 details how from this darkness, like the five elements emerge.
Okay.
Ether, which we also know as space,
Right.
air, fire, water, and earth.
So from this like formless void,
Yeah.
the basic building blocks of the universe just kind of arise.
Exactly. And it's not just like a random appearance.
Yeah.
The text actually outlines a specific sequence.
Okay.
Ether gives rise to air,
Uh-huh.
air to fire, fire to water, and water to earth. Each element sort of emerges from the one before it,
Right.
highlighting like a sort of interconnectedness,
Yeah.
from the very beginning.
Oh, interesting. So there's already this sense of like order
Yes.
and relationship, like even in the act of creation.
Yeah, definitely. And that order sort of continues as these elements then combine to form what's called the Brahmanda, or the cosmic egg.
Oh, wow.
Imagine, this egg resting upon the primordial waters.
Wow.
It's a really potent symbol of potential and, the beginning of everything we know.
Okay, so we've got our cosmic egg,
Yeah.
but what's inside? Who or what sets this whole universe in motion?
Well, this is where the story takes a more divine turn.
Okay.
Within the cosmic egg resides Lord Vishnu in his form as Hiranyagarbha,
Right.
the golden embryo.
Wow.
He's the source of all creation, the seed from which like the entire universe springs forth.
So everything comes from this like single point within the cosmic egg.
That's the central idea here, yeah.
Wow.
And the Vishnu Purana really emphasizes that it's not just about like individual elements, but about the relationships between them.
Yeah.
As the text says, the elements cannot create the universe without taking resort to one another.
So it's like this giant cosmic puzzle.
Yeah.
Where every piece is essential to the whole picture.
Right.
But I'm guessing there's more to the universe than just this egg.
Oh, absolutely. The Vishnu Purana goes on to describe how the cosmic egg itself is enveloped by 7 layers.
Wow.
Starting with Mahatattva, the principle of cosmic intelligence.
Okay.
Then moving outwards, you have Bhutadi, the subtle elements, Ahankara,
Right.
the ego or sense of self, and Tanmatra, the
great.
subtle essences of perception.
Yeah.
And finally, we have like the more familiar layers,
Right.
of ether, air, and fire.
Whoa, those first few layers sound pretty abstract.
Yeah.
Like, is there a way to think about them that's a little bit more, well, down to earth?
Well, the text actually compares it to a coconut.
Okay.
Imagine the coconut shell as the outermost layer, then, the fibrous husk.
Yeah.
And finally, like, the hard inner shell protecting the seed within.
Right.
And that seed, like the universe within the cosmic egg, is where the potential for everything lies.
Okay, that definitely helps.
Yeah.
So we've got this universe, like, intricately layered, born from this cosmic egg.
Yeah.
But what about the beings that inhabit this universe?
Right.
Where do humans fit into this grand scheme?
Well, from this cosmic scale, the Vishnu Purana zooms in and focuses on humanity.
Yeah.
Vishnu Purana 6.mp3 introduces us to the lineage of kings.
Okay.
Figures who play crucial roles in shaping the world.
Right.
And one of the most important figures in this lineage is Prithu.
Prithu. What makes him stand out among all these kings?
Well, his origin story is pretty dramatic.
Okay.
He's born from the right hand of King Vena.
Wow.
A ruler who met a rather grim end.
Wait, what happened to King Vena?
He was slain by sages for his wickedness.
Oh, wow.
Imagine that a king so corrupt that even the wise sages couldn't tolerate his rule.
So Prithu is born from the ashes of this fallen king.
Yeah.
That's a powerful start.
Yeah.
What kind of ruler does he become?
He's portrayed as like the ideal king, you know?
Okay.
He's credited with milking the earth to provide sustenance for his people.
Oh.
So essentially, he brings forth abundance and prosperity, embodying the qualities of righteous leadership.
So he represents like a new beginning.
Yeah.
A departure from the corruption of his predecessor.
Exactly. And he's just one figure in this long line of kings and dynasties described in the Vishnu Purana.
So if Prithu is like a key player in this lineage, who else should we know about?
Well, the text introduces another significant figure.
Okay.
Manu, the progenitor of humankind.
Okay.
Think of him as like the first human,
right?
The one from whom all others descend.
So like a sort of Adam figure in Hindu mythology.
You could think of it that way, yeah,
Right.
though it's maybe a bit more nuanced than that.
Yeah.
The Vishnu Purana actually states that there are 14 Manus.
Oh, wow.
Each presiding over a vast period called a Manvantara.
Okay.
These are like cyclical epochs of time,
Right.
each with its own Manu.
So multiple Manus.
Yeah.
Multiple cycles of creation, things just keep getting more and more complex.
It does, right?
And I see we have all these excerpts.
Yeah.
Vishnu Puran 10.mp3, Vishnu Puran 22.mp3, and so on.
Right.
Outlining specific lineages. It's like a giant, intricate family tree.
It really is. And what's fascinating is that it's not just, a dry list of names.
Right.
These lineages, they actually illustrate a cyclical pattern.
Okay.
Some kings embody Dharma. They rule righteously, they bring prosperity, while others succumb to corruption and ultimately fall from grace.
So it's this constant dance between like order and chaos.
Right.
Virtue and vice played out through these generations of kings.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
Wow.
And the importance of righteous conduct, of Dharma, is a central theme throughout these accounts. The Vishnu Purana seems to be saying that like the fate of entire kingdoms, the well-being of the people, hinges on the actions and choices of its leaders.
That's a pretty heavy responsibility.
Yeah.
Makes you think about the leaders of today, doesn't it? But before we get too lost in modern-day politics,
Sure.
I'm curious to hear more about these kings.
Yeah.
Are there any like particularly intriguing figures or stories that stand out?
Oh, absolutely. The Vishnu Purana is filled with captivating tales.
Okay.
One that comes to mind is the story of King Sagara
Uh-huh.
and his 60,000 sons.
Wait, 60,000 sons?
Yeah.
How is that even possible? And what role do they play in this epic saga?
Well, that's a story we'll have to unpack a little bit later.
Okay.
But get ready for some unbelievable events.
That's good.
60,000 sons might sound unbelievable, but, in the world of the Vishnu Purana, anything is possible.
Yeah, I guess so.
Vishnu Puran 24.mp3 describes how King Sagara, conducted this grand ritualistic sacrifice known as an Ashvamedha Yagna.
I've heard of those. It involves a horse, right?
Yes, a sacrificial horse is released to wander freely.
Right.
And the king's army follows it. And the territory the horse covers during its, year-long journey is considered to be under the king's dominion.
Right.
But in Sagara's case, his horse went missing.
Oh, no.
And his 60,000 sons were tasked with finding it.
So 60,000 princes scouring the earth for this one horse.
Yeah.
Talk about a dedicated search party.
Yeah, they dug deep into the earth, searching every corner until they stumbled upon a scene that would seal their fate.
What did they find?
The sage Capula deep in meditation.
Okay.
The sons mistaking him for a thief who had stolen the horse.
Right.
Disturbed his profound state.
Oh, no, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
Disturbing a sage, especially one in deep meditation, seems like a recipe for disaster.
As Capila opened his eyes, and his fiery gaze instantly reduced all 60,000 sons to ashes.
Wow. That's intense. So much for finding the horse.
The story doesn't end there. Generations later, King Sagara's descendant Bhagirath takes on the task of completing the sacrifice and redeeming his ancestors. He undertakes intense austerities to bring the sacred river Ganga down from heaven.
So the Ganga, one of the most sacred rivers in Hinduism, was brought to earth because of this tragic event.
Exactly. The Ganga's purifying waters would cleanse the ashes of the 60,000 sons and release their souls.
Wow.
From their untimely fate.
Yeah.
Bhagirath's devotion and perseverance were so profound that he managed to channel this celestial river down to earth.
That's a powerful story about duty to one's family and the power of penance.
Mm-hmm.
It also highlights how important the Ganga is within Hindu tradition.
Right.
Are there any other stories in the Vishnu Purana that kind of touch on these deeper themes?
Oh, there are plenty. How about the tale of King Trishanku,
Okay.
a king who yearned for something beyond the earthly realm?
A king with lofty ambitions? This sounds intriguing.
Vishnu Purana 23.mp3 tells us about Trishanku's intense desire
Okay.
to ascend to heaven in his physical body,
Right.
a feat not usually granted to mortals. He sought the help of the powerful sage Vishwamitra, known for his mastery of magic and his ability to grant boons.
So Vishwamitra used his powers to send Trishanku to heaven.
He did, but there was a problem.
Yeah.
Indra, the king of the gods, refused to accept Trishanku into the celestial realm.
Why not? Did Trishanku do something to offend the gods?
It wasn't like a personal slight.
Okay.
Indra was upholding the cosmic order, the natural laws that governed the universe.
Right.
Ascending to heaven in a physical body was simply not permitted.
So what happened to Trishanku? Did he, fall back to Earth?
He was caught between worlds.
Oh, wow.
Literally suspended upside down between heaven and earth.
Oh, my gosh.
Neither fully mortal nor fully divine.
Right.
He became a symbol of the consequences of overreaching ambition.
That's a potent image. It makes you wonder, what are the limits of human desire?
Yeah.
And at what point does ambition become transgression?
The story doesn't explicitly condemn ambition, but it definitely highlights the importance of understanding and respecting the natural order of things.
Right.
There are boundaries, even for kings, even for those aided by powerful magic.
Yeah, it's a reminder that sometimes our desires can lead us down paths that ultimately take us further from where we want to be.
Right.
It's a lesson that's as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
Are there other stories that kind of explore this tension between human desires and cosmic law?
Absolutely. The tale of King Yayati, as recounted in Vishnu Purana 24.mp3, is a prime example.
Okay.
Yayati was cursed with premature aging, a consequence of his own actions.
So he was suddenly an old man. That doesn't sound pleasant.
It wasn't consumed by a desire to regain his youth.
Right.
He struck a bargain with his youngest son, Puru.
Okay.
He asked Puru to take on his curse of old age
Wow.
in exchange for his youthful years.
So he essentially traded his son's youth for his own. What a desperate move.
Desperate, and as Yayati eventually discovered, ultimately futile. Even with his restored youth, he couldn't escape the consequences of his past actions.
Yeah.
His desires only led to more suffering, both for himself and his son.
What did he learn from this experience? Did he ever get his youth back?
Well, that's a question we can explore in just a moment, but first, let's take a quick break.
So Yayati, this king who so desperately wanted to reclaim his youth, he traded years with his son.
Right.
Did he ever realize, the folly of his actions?
He did, but, it took time.
Yeah.
And a lot of suffering.
Right.
Yayati spent 1,000 years indulging in every pleasure imaginable.
Wow.
Only to find that they brought no lasting happiness. Eventually, he realized that true contentment couldn't be found in, fleeting desires.
So he learned the hard way that chasing youth and pleasure is a dead end.
Exactly. He returned his youth to Puru, accepting his old age with this newfound wisdom.
Right.
And the Vishnu Purana uses this story to illustrate the importance of detachment, of recognizing that true fulfillment doesn't lie in external things, but in understanding the impermanent nature of all things.
It's a powerful lesson about acceptance and letting go, something we could all probably benefit from in our own life.
Absolutely. And this idea of cycles of impermanence.
Yeah.
It isn't just confined to individual lives.
Right.
The Vishnu Purana also describes the cyclical nature of time itself through the concept of yugas.
Okay, let's dive into that. What exactly are yugas?
Imagine these vast epochs of time, each with its own distinct characteristics. The Vishnu Purana describes 4 yugas, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga.
Okay.
And they're said to follow this cyclical pattern, with Satya Yuga being the golden age, a time of virtue, spiritual enlightenment, and immense lifespans.
Sounds idyllic, but I'm guessing it doesn't stay that way.
No. Each successive yuga marks a decline.
Right.
Treta Yuga sees a slight decrease in virtue and lifespan. Dwapara Yuga continues that downward trend. And finally, we arrive at Kali Yuga, the present age, which is considered the darkest of them all.
So it's all downhill from the golden age. That's a bit depressing.
Well, it's not necessarily about pessimism.
Okay.
The cyclical nature of yuga suggests that even darkness eventually gives way to light.
Right.
But the Vishnu Purana definitely doesn't sugarcoat the challenges of Kali Yuga.
What are some of the hallmarks of this Kali Yuga?
Well, Vishnupuran 41.mp3 describes it as an age of rampant materialism, moral decay, widespread conflict,
Right.
and a decline in human lifespans.
Uh-huh.
The text paints a pretty bleak picture,
Yeah.
with predictions of people living only a maximum of 20 years.
20 years. That's barely enough time to figure out what you want to do with your life.
Uh,
So is there any hope? Are we just doomed to this cycle of decline?
Well, the Vishnu Purana does offer like a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness.
Yeah,
It prophesizes the arrival of Kalki,
Hmm.
the final incarnation of Vishnu.
A divine savior. What role does Kalki play in all of this?
Kalki is destined to appear at the end of Kali Yuga.
Okay.
He'll restore Dharma, vanquish evil, and usher in a new Satya Yuga,
Why?
restarting the cycle.
Okay.
So it's a reminder that even in the darkest of times,
Yeah.
there's the promise of renewal
Right.
and a return to a more virtuous era.
That's reassuring, even if it's a long way off.
Mm-hmm.
But the Vishnu Purana isn't just about these cosmic cycles and prophecies, right? It also offers guidance on how to live a righteous life, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The concept of Dharma, which we've, touched upon throughout our dive,
Yeah.
is central to the Vishnu Purana. It goes beyond simply following rules.
Right.
It's about understanding one's duty,
Okay.
acting in accordance with like cosmic law,
Yeah.
and living a life that's in harmony with the universe.
So it's about aligning ourselves with this like greater purpose.
Precisely. And Vishnu Purana 18.mp3 outlines the specific duties and responsibilities
Okay.
associated with each of the four varnas or social classes:
Mm-hmm.
Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of society
Right.
and the importance of each individual playing their role
Yeah.
for the benefit of the whole.
So it's like this cosmic blueprint for a harmonious society.
Yeah,
Everyone fulfilling their dharma,
Right.
creating this like balanced and functional whole.
that's a great way to put it. But the Vishnu Purana also acknowledges that Dharma isn't static.
Okay.
It can change depending on one's stage of life.
So how does dharma play out in like everyday life?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of guidance does the Vishnu Purana offer for those of us navigating the complexities of the modern world?
There's a lot of emphasis on the role of the householder or grihasta,
Okay.
as detailed in Vishnu Puran 18.mp3 and Vishnu Puran 19.mp3.
Right.
These sections offer like practical guidance on daily conduct,
Mhm.
covering everything from rituals and hygiene
Okay.
to hospitality and social interactions.
So it's like an ancient self-help guide. What are some of the guidelines that might resonate with our listeners today?
Well, some might find the instructions on when and where to relieve oneself a bit too specific for modern sensibilities.
Yeah.
But the underlying principle is about respecting the sanctity of nature
Right.
and maintaining purity of body and mind.
Okay.
There's a lot of focus on rituals surrounding food, such as offering food to the gods before eating,
Right.
which highlights the importance of gratitude
Yeah.
and recognizing the source of our sustenance, and the emphasis on hospitality with warnings about the consequences of mistreating a guest.
Right.
Reminds us of the importance of kindness and generosity.
It's fascinating how even these seemingly mundane aspects of daily life
Yeah.
are imbued with this deeper meaning
Right.
and connected to this greater concept of dharma.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that even our seemingly insignificant actions have ripple effects.
Wow.
Everything is interconnected.
It makes you appreciate the holistic worldview presented in the Vishnu Purana.
Yeah.
It's not just about abstract philosophy,
Mhm.
but about how we live, how we treat each other,
Mm-hmm.
and how we interact with the world around us.
Exactly.
But what about the text itself?
Yeah.
What does the Vishnu Purana say about the benefits of reading or listening to it?
Well, Vishnu Puran 46.mp3 lists several benefits.
Okay.
It suggests that reading or listening to the Vishnu Purana can purify us from sin, impart knowledge and wisdom,
Right.
and even lead to spiritual liberation.
Wow.
It's seen as a source of protection from fear and negative influences.
So it's like a spiritual shield,
Yeah.
a guidebook, and a source of wisdom all rolled into one.
You could say that, yeah, it speaks to the enduring power of these ancient texts to
Mhm.
offer meaning and guidance even thousands of years after they were composed.
It's been quite a journey. We've explored the creation of the universe, delved into the lives of kings,
Yes.
confronted the challenges of Kali Yuga,
Right.
and discovered the importance of Dharma.
Mm.
We've only scratched the surface of what the Vishnu Purana has to offer.
Okay.
But I feel like I've gained a new appreciation for its depth and complexity.
It's a text that rewards repeated exploration.
Yeah.
There's always something new to discover, a different layer of meaning to uncover.
Absolutely. So for our listener, what would you say is like the most important takeaway from this deep dive?
I'd encourage them to reflect on how the concepts we've discussed resonate in their own lives.
Mm-hmm.
How does the idea of dharma inform their decisions and actions?
Yeah,
What does the cyclical nature of yugas, the ebb and flow of darkness and light,
right.
mean to them in the context of their own experiences in the world around them?
That's a powerful thought to leave us with. The Vishnu Purana may be an ancient text, but its wisdom is timeless, offering insights and guidance for seekers of all ages. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking the wisdom that lies within these ancient texts.